All right, welcome everyone to the Confident Leader Masterclass. Today we're talking about big confident energy, and the role that some leaders that have narcissistic tendencies. We've talked about imposter syndrome, and this is a very personal topic for me. I've worked for and with many overconfident individuals, and they are disruptive, right? They're frustrating. We can be in a great space. We can be feeling confident about our leadership, and then that person come in and disrupt us. So why is this topic so important to me? Well, uh, when I was struggling through my career, what I found is that often it's other people that trigger our confidence issues. Often it's other people's perspectives that, challenge our competence, challenge our ability to be effective. And we wonder if we're adding value. Have you ever been there? Ever wondered, am I adding value? Am I a good leader? Am I making a difference? And then when we're wondering that, we encounter someone and they'll say something to us, and what we are interpreting is, no, they're saying I don't add value. They're saying I don't matter. They're saying I'm not important. And that leadership journey of working through that and getting back to our best self is a journey. And what used to happen to me is I would be triggered and I would hang out in that space for far too long. I would hang out in the negative self-talk. I would hang out in an area where I would say, what's wrong with me? Why am I not leading better than this? Why aren't people appreciating me? Why am I not feeling valued? Why am I not making a difference? And I committed my life to helping people with their confidence journey because in that moment, I knew I needed help. And I hired a coach. And that coach's name was Dr. Craig Melkin. And he wrote a book called Rethinking Narcissism. And that single decision to hire him as my coach has been the biggest single impact in my career. Prior to that, I was, I would get thrown off my game. It would take me weeks, months to recover. I would have days of being in a funk, days of having my inner critic raging, days of not feeling like I was measuring up. And in my conversations with him every month, he would just help me have a different perspective. And he helped me understand that inner critic, that imposter syndrome was no longer helping me, was no longer serving me, was no longer putting me in a good position. It serves us all in adolescence, helps us stay sharp, helps us pass exams, it helps us get ready for our future, graduating, getting a job. But then it outlives its usefulness. And that inner critic that we have needs to transform to becoming an inner coach. And that's the primary work that I do, helping people move from that angry, negative self-talk into the person where we're treating ourselves like our own best friend. We're treating ourselves like an executive coach. And when I started to meet with Dr. Melkin, he gave me many strategies of what to do when that inner critic came up. And that's what I want to talk about with us today. When that inner critic comes up and you're not your best self, what do we do? And typically, that inner critic can be often triggered by someone who has overconfidence. So how does that work? Well, I was coaching a person, and we'll call her Pam. That wasn't her name. And Pam was struggling with her leader. Pam was working hard. Most of the organization thought that Pam was doing a great job, but her boss was very overconfident, took credit for her work, had to have the last word, and always second guessed, challenged her. No matter what she didn't feel like it was right. And narcissism, by the simplest definition, is an addiction to feeling special. So every day this person wakes up and they have to reorganize their world to feel special. So if someone else is getting more credit than they are, they have to reevaluate the game. They have to shift things. They have to bring themselves. They're constantly looking to be the hero of their own story. And so her boss was very much this way. Her boss very much, every single time they met, the reason why the meeting went well is because he made it go well, not from Pam's effort in setting the agenda and getting everyone set up. If the project didn't go well, it was Pam's fault. She clearly didn't do what he asked. And if the project went well, he was the leader, he was the architect, he was the engineer behind it all. So what about you? Who in your life has been that overconfident, narcissistic personality tendencies that just frustrates us, right? Just infuriates us. Who's been that for you? Because What happens is overconfidence is the most repelling human behavior. When I survey teams, and I've been serving it, I've been doing this for 15 years, coached thousands of people, the most common characteristic of a dysfunctional team member is when they think they're better than you are. And some of us have worked with people like that, maybe for days, maybe for weeks, maybe for years, where they genuinely think they're better than you are. They think they're a better human being. They think they're a better leader. And that is exhausting. There isn't space for us to own our greatness. There isn't space for us to do what we believe we're designed to do. And it keeps us feeling small. It keeps us off balance. It keeps us wondering if we're adding value in this situation. So as we worked with Pam, she would say things like, but Ben, you don't understand. My leader's this and this and this. And I will start leading well when my leader starts leading well. When he gets his act together, then I will get my act together. But until then, there's nothing I can do. I've tried everything. Ben, you don't understand. I've tried everything. Nothing's going to work. Maybe it's just my lot in life to be underconfident. Maybe my imposter syndrome will just rage because you know what? I'm not convinced I can actually improve this area of my life. I think it's my biology, it's my heritage, it's my family. I don't ever see myself getting better in this area. So what's the point of you and I even meeting? And she was honest. I said, Pam, I have no guarantees. I have no idea what your journey's been. I have no idea what your story is. And I have no idea what your leader's like. I don't work with your leader. I don't know your leader. Could very well be very true, everything that you're saying. However, in our coaching work, we are constantly looking for the third option, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today, is just because we've always done things a certain way doesn't mean we can't find a creative, new, and innovative way to find a way back to being a confident leader. So that's what Pam and I started talking about. And we talked about it in terms of this model behind me. So this model, this is our authentic confidence model. And our goal was to help her find what I call big confident energy. Because when the narcissist walks in the room, their shoulders are back, right? Head held high. They want the energy on themselves. They want to be seen as the most important person. They'll scan the room. Who's important? Who do I need to rub elbows with? They'll name drop in conversations. Oh, I know this person. I know this person. I know this person. And the reason why things are successful are because of me. And the reason why things fail is because of everyone else. And that's what Pam's leader did when he walked into a room. And so we talked about that. In the input phase here, so what happens, Pam, in the input phase when he walks in and makes those comments? What happens? What happens? And the first thing that we have written down here is we have sesso, des, and deso. And the sesso is, Pam, what is your current emotional state for yourself and others? So what's your current emotional state for yourself and for others? And in that moment when he walked in, her current emotional state, as you can imagine, was frustrated, angry, disappointed, infuriated. She was upset. She was in a dark place. She was feeling miserable. And misery was the word that she would use to describe her experience. When he walks in the room, I just feel miserable. I feel like crawling out of my skin. I feel like yelling. I feel like walking out of the room, but I know I can't do that. I know I can't do that. I need the job. And so that's how I feel. I said, how do you feel about him? I'm angry. He's so entitled. I can't compromise or get him to move on anything. It has to be his idea. It's so exhausting that I have to massage everything to make sure it's his idea. And I'm exhausted and I'm worn out. And what's the emotion I feel about him? Disgust. I'm actually disgusted with him. He disgusts me. He's frustrating to me. So, okay, well, that's where we start. And that's the input. That's the current emotional state. So why is it so important to define that first? Is as we're on the path to being our best self as a leader, we first have to acknowledge and be honest about the emotion that's behind the current state. We can't just stuff it. We can't just pretend it isn't happening because it will come out in other ways. It will come out against our family. It will come out against our friends. It will come out against people that we really, really care about, that we think, well, I can trust this person. I can be angry. I can talk about my boss. However, it gets old. I can tell you from my family, my 8 jobs in 8 years and working with people that were overconfident, they got tired of listening to it. So we got to move past that. So I'm talking with Pam. It's like, okay, so Pam, that's what you're currently feeling. I get that. And you have every right to feel that. And you should deeply experience those emotions. Feel that, experience that. That's what's happening to you right now. However, it can't end there because every interaction she had with her leader was unproductive. He was frustrated. She was frustrated. And there's a block here, right? There's a barrier. There's a decision that we have to make in every single relationship and every single thing that's happening. If we want to get back to big, confident energy in our leadership, I mean, because what does that feel like when she's miserable? What does she lead like? What are her team meetings like? How often after a meeting with him would she sit in her office and ruminate about it and pull in other coworkers? It was nonstop. When you live in a gossip oriented culture where narcissistic tendencies are allowed to run free, the amount of meetings after the meetings where people argue and complain and are frustrated is astounding. The number of wasted hours and wasted productivity complaining about a leader that no one can get to and no one can influence and no one can talk to because they have great sales numbers or they're a relative to the owner or they've been in this organization for 40 years and the board loves them. Whatever the situation is, if we stay in that current state, what's the likelihood of success? 0. We're going to be frustrated and annoyed, and so will everyone around us. So I said, Pam, you have every right to feel what you're feeling. And do you want to stay there? And she's like, but Ben, I've tried everything. This confidence stuff isn't going to work for me. You don't understand. Like, I've been dealing with this my whole life. I've read all the self-help books. I've gone to all the seminars. I've gone to all the workshops. This stuff just doesn't work for me. And I said, well, your leader who advocated you to go into this program with me clearly sees some potential, clearly sees what you could become, clearly sees a version of you that you don't yet see in yourself. So let's just humor me once. Do you want to continue to feel this? And ultimately she said, no, I don't. It's painful. I'm emotional. I go home at night and I cry. I go home at night and I'm angry with people and I'm agitated and I go, what, maybe I should just quit. But you know what? I kind of like the work and I like my coworkers. It's just this one person. It's just my leader that I can't stand. I said, okay, well, let's talk about what some options are to interrupt this pattern, right? This is a pattern. This is a dysfunctional pattern that's happening today. You say this, he says this, you say this, he says this. It's been going on for far too long. What would it look like to interrupt the pattern? How we interrupt that pattern and why we interrupt that pattern is what we're saying is, I still have hope in this relationship. Because when we live in contempt and hopelessness, yeah, then the relationship's over. But when we say, you know what, I still have hope for this relationship. I still have hope that something different can happen. Okay. Then we move into the second phase. Because what happens is when we come through this, if we don't do a pattern interrupt, we simply go in the over and under confidence cycle, right? We get on this merry-go-round of, with her and her leader. She would say, hey, I've got a project that I want to do. I was thinking about that. I collaborated with these few people and here's the project. What do you think? And he would say, I don't agree with that. I don't think that's the direction we're heading. Clearly you weren't listening to me in the staff meeting today. We're heading in this direction. And what she would do is she'd say, oh, here we go again. I'm a failure. Of course he doesn't like me because I can't do anything right. And who does he think he is? That isn't what he said in the meeting today. And I'm so upset with him. And that's not what we talked about. And so we do this over and under confidence cycle. And the energy is low. The energy is negative. I said, Pam, how do you want to feel? So I get the anger. That's what your trigger is. Your confidence is triggered. How do we recover your resilience? How do we get you back into a good space? How do you want to feel after you experience the trigger from him? How do you want to feel after that? And that's this. What's your desired emotion for yourself? What's the desired emotional state you want to be in for yourself? She sat back and thought for a second, okay, desired emotional state for myself. Initially, I just want to be neutral. I don't want to get angry. I don't want to get upset. It's too soon to say I'm going to be, oh, I'm excited about him taking the credit for me. I just want to feel neutral. I want to feel calm, and I want to stay in the conversation. I want to remain engaged. I said, awesome. So what's the primary emotion that you want in this? She thought for a second. I want to remain calm. Because to me, calm looks like confidence. Calm looks like I'm not running to the hills. I'm not passive aggressive. I'm not escalating. I'm just stating the course. I said, awesome. What does it feel like in that moment? Let's picture it. Let's run the tape here. So the next time he triggers you, normally you would have done what? She's like, I would have folded my arms. I would have rolled my eyes. I would have leaned back from the table. I would have stopped talking. I would have just stopped talking. I would have checked out of the meeting. It's okay. Let's roll the tape now. What are you going to do next time in the future with this person when they trigger you? She's like, I'm going to experience the anger. I know I will. It's going to wave over me. Then I'm going to take a deep breath and I'm going to remain calm. And I'm going to say, you know what? I can get through this. I can get through this. I can do hard things, which is what our kids learn in school, right? I can do hard things. I can remain calm because you hear this all the time, right? You make me feel this and you make me feel this. And what Pam was learning is he didn't actually make her feel anything. He used a specific set of strategies and words and terms that narcissists know and understand to trigger the behavior they want, which is keeping you off balance so they can take the credit. And she chose to no longer let that series of comments to trigger her and throw her off her game. And she practiced it. So she went in the next meeting and said, I know what's going to happen. And it happened. And she got mad and she wanted to roll her eyes and puff and lean back and check out of the meeting. And she thought, nope, I'm exhaling on that. I'm finding a way to be calm. I'm staying engaged in this conversation. I'm not running away. I'm not going passive aggressive. I'm not going fight or flight. And she stayed in. She hung in the meeting. And from there, then she had to decide, right? There's another barrier. So this is all the work that's happening. This is all happening internally. This is the strategies that we work on in our coaching program, right? What are the strategies to get you back at your best self? The strategies to get that big, confident energy, feeling that confident energy back to your best self. So you don't ruminate, you don't spend hours. And imagine if that were true for you. What would be possible if every trigger, you've experienced it, you felt it, you have a strategy to get back on your game, and you did it quickly. Instead of taking days and hours, it takes minutes, it takes seconds. And then ultimately, what's the desired state? What's the desired emotional state for others? So she had to think about, how do I want my leader to feel? And at first, the answers weren't very good. I want him to feel disappointed. I want him to feel frustrated. I want him to feel how angry I am. I said, okay, well, if he feels all those things, what's the likelihood that you're going to have a successful meeting? She said, not very good. I said, okay, so what do you want him to feel? And again, she thought about that. She's like, I want him to feel safe. She's like, I think he's feeling like attacked from me. I think he's feeling intimidated. I've done this work for a long time. And actually, I just want him to feel safe, like psychologically safe to have a conversation with me. That's what I want. I said, okay, awesome. Now, we can't control that state. We can't control that he'll feel that way. However, we can control our intent for how he feels. When I head into sessions like this, I want to feel invested and excited, and I want you all to feel hope. I'm invested. That's what I'm feeling. I'm invested in helping you succeed. This work matters to me. I'm passionate about it. And what I want you to feel is hope. Hope that there are strategies, hope that there are solutions, hope that there are the people in your life that can help you move past this and get back to that big, confident energy in your life that you were designed to fill. So she did that. She said, you know what? I want him to feel safe. So I'm not going to attack him. I'm not going to use words that excite him. And it wasn't perfect. And the relationship to this day isn't perfect. People with narcissistic tendencies, they're uninfluenceable, they're challenged to work with. However, it got better. It got noticeably better for her. She didn't go home nearly as angry. She felt more valued. He actually shared a little more credit with her because he wasn't feeling as threatened. And he still has his own journey and he's still got a lot of work to do. But the work that she did to say, you know what, I'm going to take back control of my life. I'm not waiting for him to lead well before I lead well. I'm going to start leading well now. I'm going to start leading with confidence now. I'm going to grow. I'm going to do the work and we're going to see what happens. And most people like Pam would just quit. They would just quit. Just leaders, horrible leader, and I'm just going to the next place. That's what most people do. That's what I did. I had 8 jobs in 8 years. That's exactly what I did. And what we all know is you tend to take whatever leadership inadequacies or deficiencies we have, we tend to just take to the next place. And what I love that Pam did is she was nominated by another leader. She dove in, she did the work, and now she's going, you know what? I love my coworkers. I love the work that I'm doing, and I'm getting better with my leader. I'm so grateful that I didn't change jobs. I'm so grateful that I didn't just run when I saw this difficult leadership challenge. And that's what I want for you. So in this, right, there's narcissistic tendencies that you're going to experience. There's people that are going to come at you, and their goal seems to be to throw you off your game and make you feel small and undervalued. And that can happen. My goal for you is it doesn't matter what the personality type is. It doesn't matter what their confidence profile is, which we're going to get to in our final session. It doesn't matter what they're about, that you have the ability to influence every single personality and profile that you encounter. That you remain in that confident space, that you decide, here's the current emotions. This is the current emotional state that I'm in with myself and others. This is my desired emotional state for myself, and this is my desired emotional state for others. And the output then, she went from, frustrated, angry, not participating to engaged, participating, influencing. Guess what? She got opportunities to do work and get promoted, and she's earned more because she's doing this work, and people see the progress and they go, wow, she's working with this really difficult leader. Imagine what she could do in other areas. We're all in with her. We're giving her more resources. We're investing in her even more. And that's what my hope is for you, that whoever you're working with, whatever narcissistic tendencies are in your life and whatever's happening with that you find a way to say, this person isn't making me feel anything. I'm not giving them that power. I'm not giving that permission. I'm not giving them rent free in my head. Taking a deep breath, I'm experiencing my current emotion. I'm defining the emotion I want for myself. I'm defining the emotion I want for them. And just watch what will happen. You will feel big, confident energy. You will feel an energy and an emotion, a positive emotion about your leadership much faster than if you didn't do this work. And this is the work that we do in our coaching program, is to help people get through this faster, because we can't eliminate this. We can't eliminate the narcissistic leaders in your life. We can't eliminate the underconfident people. We can't eliminate passive aggressive comments. We can't eliminate people not treating you respectfully. We can't eliminate all that. All we can do is address it, understand it, and then as fast as possible, move into the leader that we want to be. And what we're going to be doing in our final session is we're going to be talking about the 10 essential leadership skills that every confident leader needs. So we've done 4,000 interviews, assessments, and so we've narrowed down the 10 most essential confident leader skills. And we're going to be covering that in our last masterclass, because I just want to give you as many resources as you can to be successful with this. Obviously, we have the book Authentic Confidence, and we have resources for you. I want you to be successful. And on our homepage at benfauske.com, you can get a free confidence quiz. So your assessment, your personality will be in there. So I'm going to put that in the chat, benfauske.com. And there's a free confidence quiz when you get on the homepage. And what I want you to do is take that quiz, and then in our next session, we're going to talk about all the different personalities and profiles, how to influence them, and then the 10 essential skills that every leader needs to be a confident leader. So thank you so much for your time. I hope you have some big confident energy coming up, and I hope you get there much faster than you have in the past. And thank you for the time.